Episode 12 of the Babysitter's Club TV show is called Claudia and the New Girl. In this book, Claudia makes a best friend named Ashely Wyeth who loves art. There's a lot of tension because Claudia's friend groups don't get along. So the Babysitter's Club members don't like Ashely and vice versa. Ashely forces Claudia to miss a bunch of club meetings. The Babysitter's Club members write really mean messages for Claudia and they leave them in her room for her to read. And Claudia's basically forced to pick. Does she hang out with her new friend or her old friends? That's the story of the book. And that's not the story of the episode at all. I keep getting disappointed by the fact that the TV show doesn't follow the books. I keep expecting every episode of the show to be exactly like the book, and it never happens, and that just makes me sad. I know the graphic novel series makes a bunch of changes to the books, like I do videos where I compare the original books to the graphic novels. There's usually over like 100 changes made to every single book. But even then, the graphic novels are really faithful adaptations of the original books, especially compared to this series. There is a character named Ashely in this episode, and that's as close as the episode gets to being based on Claudia and the New Girl. I feel like Ashely was just included as an obligation to keep the title of the book as the episode's title. That's all, because, yeah, they really could have cut Ashely out of the episode. Might have made the episode better, to be honest, but I'll talk more about that when I get there. The premise of the episode is not that Claudia is having trouble with her new friend group. It's that Claudia is feeling insecure and sad because everybody ignores her, nobody listens to her, and that's not really a Claudia storyline. That's more of a Marianne storyline. Marianne is the one who and Mallory as well. They're more suited to a story where our main character is an introvert who keeps getting overlooked, whereas Claudia is a major extrovert. The other storyline is that Claudia hates Mallory, like really, really, really hates Mallory. Everything Mallory says or does makes Claudia so angry. And that is an interesting story idea. I don't think that works for Claudia, though. Like, Claudia and Mallory are the two club members who hate each other the most? Really? I know they're not best friends, but I don't think that Claudia hates Mallory. It was weird. So just both of the premises of this episode just kind of fell flat for me. So the story is the Babysitter's Club is having their first sleepover. Claudia's got a list of things to do, but because she's a doormat who everybody steps on and ignores, her list gets thrown out the window so they can do Christy's idea of a personality quiz. So everybody takes the personality quiz to find out what personality they have. And this kind of felt a little off. Like, if you take one of those online quizzes, like, which Babysitter's Club member are you? Are you the one who's hardworking and reliable? Or would you rather stay at home and read Little Women? So the hardworking, reliable ones are Chrissy, but the ones who stay at home are Marianne. You know those quizzes, right? So this feels sort of like that, except they kind of mix it up a bit. So, let me say 3. Okay, overachiever, the philosopher, and the warrior. Like, which character is which? Who's the warrior who's always standing up for what's right? That goes to Jessie. I thought that was weird. Stacy's the overachiever also strikes me as weird. I mean, she does overachieve in Stacy McGill Super Sitter. In that book, yeah, but she doesn't strike me as the type who would ever do extra credit. She's not an overachiever. She would never do extra credit. I feel like Chrissy's more than an overachiever, except she's given the leader, and that makes sense. She is the leader of the club. Marianne, the philosopher, also feels weird to me. I feel like Marianne would hate taking a philosophy class, but that's just me. That's just me. So, Ashely Wyeth shows up. She is best friends with Claudia's sister Janine, and I thought that was weird because, like the book, Claudia and Ashely are best friends, but here, Ashely is this major Instagram influencer, and she has like 5 million followers, and companies just give her stuff so she can review it, and that's that's okay. Okay, I understand they're trying to update the series for a modern audience, but that doesn't feel like an update of this particular character, right? That just feels like the generic 2020s stereotype, to be honest. Just like how the new Smurfs movie, they have influencer Smurf, like that. That's what it felt like. So it feels like it's going to go down the same storyline as the book, where Claudia's like, oh my gosh, there's a famous influencer in my house. I need to make best friends. And like whenever Ashely's around, she's like kind of awkward and trying to make best friends with Ashely. And Ashley's just like, cool, I don't really care. Ashely is just there to get tutored by Janine. And then the weird thing is, like, Ashely's there the next morning after the sleepover. Like, why is Ashely there at 8 o'clock in the morning? Did Ashely also have a sleepover with Janine, her tutor? I totally thought this was building up to an ending where, like, Ashely is Janine's girlfriend. And that's not what happened. That's not what happened. I guess I'll get to the ending when I get to the ending. But that breakfast, they have, like, 5 million waffles. Like, 40 different waffles available for, like, it was just way too many waffles, and nobody eats any. So it's like, why did Mimi make 5,000 waffles that nobody's gonna eat? I feel really bad for her. They make a joke about 80s movies being cheesy and awful. There's also another 1980s joke too, where Mallory is wearing MC Hammer pants, and she's like, oh, these are Hammer pants. I think it's because they're so large you can fit a hammer inside, huh? Joke. Just having two jokes about how bad the 1980s were, that just kind of feels weird. It feels like the series is feeling kind of awkward about the fact that a lot of these books were written in the 1980s. Well, I think, like, this is probably around when 1980s became 1990s, because most of the series was the 1990s, not the 1980s. Still, I thought that was odd. Like, why are we bringing up the 80s just to diss on the 80s? And then I know there's in one of the upcoming episodes where Jesse makes fun of a song from the 1990s for being old. And I know this because all the people who read the books in the 90s are like, Jesse, you're breaking my heart here. Like, okay. So, I don't know. Anyway, the joke is like, oh, this isn't a 1980s movie. People don't become best friends overnight. Anyway, I should probably mention Dawn at this point. So Dawn, I'm not sure how to say this without offending anybody, so I'm just gonna say it. Dawn annoyed me because she just kept reciting political talking points. It's like every fifth or so line, she's just saying a political talking point, and everybody acts like she's telling a joke. Like she said something really funny, like, hey, my mom dresses like that. Huh? Or, you know, hey, that's not a pseudopod. That's my wife. Like, she's telling punchlines, but instead she's saying talking points like the middle class is shrinking because corporations don't pay their fair share of taxes. And that's pretty close to a direct quote, actually. I have done the math. The Babysitters Club members, they all make about $15,000 a year, at least. So they should pay taxes. The Babysitters Club is a corporation at this point, because there's like 6 members. They're pulling down $15K a year. Like, this club makes way more money than I do, okay? They need to pay taxes. I'm sorry. Okay, well, Christy gets sick for a week, and so what happens is that let me check my notes. Christy gets sick, and so she can't work on the Babysitters Club all week. She's basically spending the entire week in bed. I wonder, did they say what sickness she has? I don't think they did. So that was odd. So Christy is gone for a week, meaning Claudia gets her chance to be a big member of the Babysitters Club and become the president, because she's the VP. She fills in for the president. But, remember, Claudia is feeling bad because everybody steps on her because she's a doormat. And so what happens at the next club meeting is that Dawn steps up and says, no, I'm the president, not you, Claudia. It's me. I'm the president now. And if anybody has any questions or debate, we're throwing them out because this is my only chance to be president, so I get to take over. And then, yeah. So she basically just power moves, and she makes some changes, like she abolishes the fact that they have to write minutes at the Babysitters Club meeting. I don't know why she abolishes that. They don't really have minutes at the Babysitters Club anyway, just at the start of every book. You know, in the recap chapter, Christy says, hey, does anybody have any news to talk about? Anything important? And they usually say no and just move on. It's not like there's a formal thing where every single person has to make a report. So, but anyway, even if they did have to do that, Marianne is the only one who's taking notes and taking minutes, but the books do establish Marianne just takes care of scheduling. She doesn't actually write down every single thing which gets said at every single club meeting. But this episode believes that's what she does. So Dawn abolishes club minutes, which really only affects Marianne, I guess. And then she takes over every single phone call, too. So she's the one who answers the phone, and she has like a 20-minute phone call with Mrs. Barrett, who she calls Natalie, because of course Dawn calls all adults by their first names, whether they like it or not. And she's just on basically it's like the entire meeting is just one phone call of her talking to Mrs. Barrett, which, okay, that's funny. Kind of weird. That's what Dawn does with taking over the club, but it's what she picks. She also decides she needs to change the way that the clubs do work, because club dues are a form of taxation. And those taxes are not about equity. They need to be about equity, not equality. Not everyone should pay the exact same amount of money in taxes. We need progressive taxes, where people who earn more pay more in taxes. And like I said, she's talking political points about taxes, whether or not you agree with them. Like, I have plenty of changes I would make to the tax code. Trust me. But I still don't like it when this show, which is aimed at young girls, is going into all these talking points about taxes. It's weird. It doesn't fit. Also, same thing where Claudia makes like an offhand joke. She sees Ashely again and makes some sort of joke like, Janine's majorly into cryptocurrency. That's all Janine talks about. And then streaming on Twitch. I'm like, really? Is that what Janine would be doing? I really don't think Janine would be interested in either of those things, but maybe that's me. I kind of feel like Janine would probably be playing like 1980s text adventure games on her computer all day long. I know some people who do that. I have tried playing a couple of text adventure games on my other YouTube channel, and they're not popular, so I don't really play them that often. Anyway, so Claudia is trying to step up to the plate by training Mallory, which is sad because she hates Mallory, right? But Chrissy was supposed to train Mallory. Well, Claudia takes over that job. Oh, I see how it is with Dawn. Dawn just takes over the jobs she likes. She doesn't actually take over the duties and responsibilities she dislikes. Yeah, she passes that on to Claudia, which makes me think Dawn hates Mallory too, if she's refusing to train Mallory. Wow, so we've got 2 club members who don't like Mallory in this episode. Very weird. Anyways, so Mallory's babysitting for Lucy Newton, and they bring the kid kits for some reason. Like, Lucy's a baby. She doesn't need a kid kit. No mention of her brother Jamie at all. Like, at all in this episode. Mallory tries to do the dishes, but she accidentally destroys dishes, which really annoys Claudia. And then Mallory talks too much, which really annoys Claudia as well. And eventually Claudia just snaps and just like, Mallory, you're awkward and awful. Just stop talking. Really, I need you to just stop talking. Don't say anything, ever. And, wow. Okay, so then, that's basically it for the episode, actually. They have the resolution where Chris is the club president again, and she's like, oh, well, you know what, Marianne, I'm glad that you told me everything which happened. I've listened to everybody's input. and Dawn, I really like a lot of the changes that you've implemented. Let's make them permanent, but make a little changes to them. So she decides to accept Dawn's tax proposal. And so this scene kind of annoyed me just because it was kind of an unrealistic resolution where everybody's best friend. She has no problem with Dawn changing everything. And it's just also friendly and amenable where I said the line from The Simpsons, which is, somebody hit somebody. This is so boring to watch people get along all the time, especially based on a book where they leave really, really mean messages for Claudia, like traitor, traitor, hater, hater. Like they go out of their way to make rhyming mean things for Claudia. I'm trying to find it in the book, but I can't see it I can't just automatically find it in 3 seconds. So I thought that's kind of weird resolution. And then, so then Claudia goes downstairs where Ashely is still hanging around, and Ashley's like, you know what, Claudia, sometimes, so she's talking about Janine. She's like, Claudia, I think you need to become best friends with your sister Janine. Like, she might seem strange, but she's actually worthwhile because she has unique ideas. And, like, that's fine. That's a fine moral for the episode, except, okay, well, 2 issues. Like, this doesn't really pan out with Janine. Like, Claudia takes the advice and says, like, hey, Janine, I'm going to try to hang out with you now. And Janine's like, okay, cool, bye. That didn't work. That's actually pretty funny. Actually, you know what? That's not a problem. That's fine. But Claudia takes that lesson about Janine and then applies it to Mallory. And so she's like, you know what? I'm actually going to make an effort with Mallory. She reads Mallory's stories and decides she actually likes Mallory's stories. And then she and Mallory become friends and they hug and they like each other. And I guess that's good. So getting to the Ashely stuff, I feel like Ashely shouldn't have been in this episode because we have Mimi. Mimi shows up regularly in this episode, almost as much as Ashely, actually. And I feel like this ending should have come from Mimi. Like, Mimi should have been the one who gives Claudia this lesson that Claudia applies to Janine and to Mallory. Really, there was like 0 interaction between Claudia and Janine, so it's kind of weird that Ashely feels like making sure Claudia and Janine are good friends again. That was weird. They kind of totally dropped the storyline that Claudia wants to be best friends with Ashely because Ashely is a super cool influencer. Like, that went nowhere. So, yeah. So, I think I've talked enough about this episode. What are your thoughts? You can leave a comment. I had a lot of problems with the episode. I just think the premise, in a lot of ways, doesn't work. I wish it was more like the book. I don't think Ashely deserved to be part of the episode. It's sad because I really do think like the basic ideas could have worked. Like, Claudia has a lot of tension between her and one of the other members of the Babysitters Club. Like, that's fine. You know, this is a book about them all fighting and being nasty. And I really love the books where they have like this big club fights and battles. Like, okay, maybe I'm just like immature and love middle school drama, but I really like the books like that. And so an episode like this, which purposely goes out of their way to like, it sets up, oh, this is going to be huge drama, but no, no drama whatsoever. Boo. The other premise that Claudia feels insecure, that doesn't feel true to Claudia to me. I don't think that works. The storyline of Claudia having a new friend, which kind of drives a wedge between her and her old friends, is a good one. That's fine. That could have worked, but it's Janine's new best friend, which is just, yeah, I don't know. So those are my rambling thoughts on this episode. Bye.